there you go. It's a simple plan. That's why me and Mike follow it.
Simpler the better.
That's right.
The old KISS principle. You heard that, right?
Yes.
Keep
yes.
it simple.
Don't say that. All right. Simple plan. Singing in the rain, and strangely enough, you're going to be able to do that like for the next few days. Whenever you want.
You get the rain.
Just step outside because it's a coming.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's white stuff up above, though.
Yes. Oh, it should be. That should not be a problem
because
whatsoever.
it's around freezing.
Yes.
I mean, the rain's coming. So.
Yeah, it's going to be, and nighttime lows are going to be right around freezing too. So just be aware of that. I think and one of the easiest places to forget is if you're heading to Spokane and that little pass there at Loon Lake.
Yeah,
that's a really neat place. If you loop-de-loo just right, you can do twirlies down the other side.
Well, it doesn't get sun all day.
That's right.
That's why it does that.
Yep.
It kind of goes through that cut.
Yep. And it's higher, and it's a bad spot.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. That's your tip from Scott and Mike: is be careful. Don't be like us.
Exactly.
Right. Start off this break with some local birthdays. You got those for us, Mike?
Yeah, I do. We got a couple of them today. We have Sherry Fraunfelter.
Yes.
And you said she's a school teacher?
No, her husband was.
Her husband was.
I was just sharing that so that you might remember who she was.
Oh,
so.
no.
All right. Happy birthday, Sherry.
Happy birthday, yeah.
Yes.
And then we have Joey Baker.
All right, there you go. You know him, you love him. You might see him around town. If you do, kiss them and tell them happy birthday. But, I don't know Joey, so I don't know if that's okay. But you can give Sherry a kiss, maybe. If she likes you.
If he likes you, yeah. Is the door locked?
Forget I said anything.
Okay.
All right. Celebrity birthdays to go along with those. Max Baer Jr. What television show is he from?
Beverly Hillbillies.
You are exactly right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
He's Lloyd Bridges' son, who became quite a popular actor. His name is?
Bo Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges.
Okay.
Way more popular than
I really
Bo.
like Jeff Bridges. He's a great actor.
Who's Bo?
Bo's his brother. Remember the Baker Boys?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Kind of looks like the rest of them. All right. Patricia Wettig is 68, and
I have no idea who that is.
I know if I saw the picture, I know who it would go to, but I can't tell you off the top of my head. All right. Marissa Tomei from the Spider-Man movies, she's 55. Fran Armisen from Portlandia is 53. And guys, just got to if your creep factor goes from 1 to 10, he's right up there like a steady 8.5.
Yep.
It was like that. Somebody asked me to sit down and watch that television show Trailer Park Boys with him, and it was like, I don't know if you've ever watched that.
I never have.
You
no.
shouldn't. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think anybody should. But I actually sat through a couple episodes of it, and it was the first time I'd ever watched a television show that made me want to shower.
Okay.
And people who have watched Trailer Park Boys know what I'm talking about. It's wrong. Jay-Z is 50 and Tyra Banks in at 46. And that moves us on to special events.
Oh, okay.
A game is on with the first one there, Mike.
Dice Day.
Dice Day.
Right, okay.
You ever do some dice in your younger days? Maybe a little gambling with the dice?
No, I never have.
Ooh.
No. I'm not a big gambler.
All right. We're moving on to hunting.
Oh, we are?
Yes. It's because you're hunting for these all the time.
Okay.
What's the next day?
Sock Day?
Exactly.
Oh,
All right,
I get it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
For the mysterious world of left socks.
Yeah. You ever wonder where they go?
I actually actually learned where they went. I saw it on an episode of, I think it was Ren and Stimpy, showed where all left socks go.
Okay, where do they
Not
go?
a nice place.
Oh, okay.
Similar to hell.
The other side.
The other side. There's just a dimension that exists for left socks and things that disappear. All right. You don't want to know any more on that. Trust me.
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Next.
So, next?
Yes.
Oh, World Wildlife Conservation Day.
I'm trying to get you to give them all to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you waiting for me to do the next one or something?
Well, I was waiting for that.
All right. World Wildlife Conservation Day. All right.
Okay.
We'll conserve some
So, what
wildlife.
kind of shoes do you have on today?
I have the brown shoes on.
Brown Shoe Day. Okay. You actually looked at this.
Yeah. I have,
Are you just a brown shoe type of guy?
I have brown shoes.
Okay.
And my primary shoes right now are brown shoes.
Okay. All right. Okay. And
do you have like a primary shoe, or do you like switch shoes every day?
I have a primary shoe.
Yeah, I think most people. And what color are your shoes?
Gray.
Oh. You don't fit in.
Well, this time of the year they're black.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And the last one.
Oh, are you ready for this?
Yes, I am totally ready.
Okay, Cookie Day.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Cookie Day. And I have this for you.
Can we have a cookie?
Yes.
Yes, you may have a cookie.
Please. And today would be an excellent day to drop a cookie off for Mike.
You know, we just had our kids and grandkids here this weekend, so Loretta made all these cookies. I mean, like, I don't know, 10 dozen or better.
And you're my buddy?
Well, I didn't. Well, actually, they're almost all gone now.
Oh.
But she makes these Mexican wedding cakes.
Okay.
And then she makes these Ritz crackers with peanut butter dipped in dark chocolate.
Oh.
And then granola bars.
Yeah, and my buddy brought me some this morning.
Yeah, but I know you're on a diet.
Yeah, I
I was thinking about it. Then I said, you know, if I brought him in, he would just throw them away anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll eat them.
Yeah. I diabetic my way right into a box of blueberry donuts last night.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't been shopping in a while, so
okay.
I had that food thing going on.
Were they the mini donuts?
No, they're the full-size blueberry donuts.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah,
old-fashioned style
yeah.
with lots of grease?
Said, you kind of have diabetes.
I'm just going to take these and see what happens to my blood sugars.
Yeah, I'm going to see if it affects me.
That's right.
A whole box.
I'll see if I'm over it yet.
I took extra protein powder. I'm going to have 42 smoothies now because I ate a box of donuts. All right.
I can't imagine eating a whole box of donuts.
I didn't need to. I know 6, but
six.
I didn't. It was I ate 2.5 donuts though. I stopped. It's like, no, 3 would be wrong. I'll stop at 2.5.
Okay.
And my tummy hurts this morning. All right, that was a late night snack too, which is a horrible idea.
That's
that's
exactly.
just the wrong thing to do. But it felt good. and I did it with half and half, so it tasted even better.
You dipped it in half and half?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I spare no expense.
You hear that noise?
Yeah?
It's your arteries
My arteries hardening right now. Nah. Not when you only do it, like once a month. Or
okay. Okay.
I don't think. But, if it does kill me, though, you'll find me on the floor with half a blueberry donut and a smile on my face. So, hey.
You died with a
I'd be happy I've got a good life insurance policy for my kids.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but they were healthy donuts. They had blueberries.
That's right. That's right.
Great antioxidant.
Yes.
So,
I don't know if the baking process ruins that, but I'm not going to ask that. Whoa.
So did you have them wrapped in bacon?
I did not have them wrapped in bacon. Bacon and blueberry.
Doesn't that sound good?
That's one to think about. Maybe that little guinea pig bacon we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
I'm going to get fired. All right. Number of the day is 65. All right, that is the percentage of mall Santas that have a college degree, 65%. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that proves a college degree means nothing because those guys are going to get peed on. Guaranteed at some point. They're going to have a warm lap for a minute. All right.
You've been there, huh?
Yeah. Well, how's that college degree doing for you now? No, I've never been hired as the mall Santa, just the elf.
Just the elf?
Oh.
Do you still have the elf suit?
Yeah, I got a cool hat and some shoes, too.
Oh, okay. All right.
And, I got this elf thing. I've got this elf thing down. Haven't you noticed?
So you'll be walking up and down the streets in your outfit on Saturday?
Possibly.
Okay.
No, I'll be busy getting ready for our play, which we're going to talk about here in a little
that's
bit.
right.
We got so much news. Let's wrap it up with It Happened Today, and then we're going to get into news. We're not even going to stop for music because we have so much to cover.
We got a lot to go over, yeah.
All right. First, It Happened Today. It was 1956 is where we start, and it is the 4th of December for anybody who's trying to track it. 1956, during a Carl Perkins recording session, also involving Jerry Lee Lewis and Johnny Cash at Sun Records in Memphis, Tennessee, who stepped into the studio but Elvis Presley. He jammed with Perkins and Lewis extensively with the tape recorders rolling. Cash reportedly participated briefly in the jam before leaving the studio with his wife and daughter. Four men became known as the $1 Million Quartet, and the complete tape from the legendary session was eventually released on compact disc in 1987.
Yeah, yeah. I went to a Las Vegas show called the $1 Million Quartet. Now, these guys obviously weren't there But it was really good. It
All
really
right.
was. Yeah,
All right.
I like Carl Perkins.
See, you had basically impersonators for each act,
yeah.
huh? Nice.
Yeah.
And some of those are really good. I walked into a casino one time in Reno where we were pretty sure Tom Petty was playing because the dude looked exactly like him, had the hat, and it sounded like him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, more music stuff. 1980, rock group Led Zeppelin formally announced its breakup. Yeah.
Okay.
Biggest fight is who got the cat. 1998, the only U.S. factory making Scrabble tiles closed on this date. The Hasbro-owned Milton Bradley Wood Products Company, Fairfax, Vermont, which had churned out 1 million of the lettered tiles a day for 20 years, closed and let an outside company start producing those little wooden tiles. And I bet you they're from another country.
Yeah, I would put money on that,
Yes.
actually. Yep.
2003 Dutch teenager who tried to rob a taxi driver was arrested after the cabbie took charge, though the 17-year-old had a knife. Without hesitating, the 41-year-old cabbie got out of the car, pulled his passenger from the back seat, and threw him in the trunk. He drove straight to the police station. 2004 man in India drove about 375 miles without using his hands in an attempt to get into the record books. It took him 15 hours to drive the distance with his hands tied to the driver's seat and the wheel, brakes and clutch controlled by his legs only. Oh, let's see. Wheel, brakes, and clutch controlled by his legs only. Wow. And then on to Germany we go, where in 2011, I think the name of the town is Koblenz. 45,000 citizens waited to return home after bomb squads defused World War II bombs that were hidden under the Rhine River for nearly 65 years. Wow, that is a fish you don't want to catch.
That's right. Wherever it goes off, there'll be lots of fish.
Yeah, and there's that one guy who goes, I wonder what this thing is. Oh, look, a waterfall. All right, we've got so much to cover. We're going to move on this morning and talk about, instead of going into our musical set, we're going to talk about, we've got some cool stuff going on. I want to go over what's happening for city sidewalks. Okay. Diane couldn't be with us today, so I want to cover all that stuff. And we have an ice cream social tonight. Plus, there's some the radio station's doing a play, and I want to point out what we're doing with our Christmas cards a little bit, too. So we got lots of goodies. But first, I want to talk to you. The first problem I have, Mike, and that's for anybody watching the webcam too. I'm 53. Do you think I can read that? Really? There's 5 questions on a piece of paper, and I think you used size number 8 font.
No. It's 12, actually.
Is it 12?
Next time I'll use 24.
Thank
just
you.
For you. Okay, and bolded.
You notice how
and space the letters.
Yeah, you notice how big our screens have gotten in here.
Right.
And it's nice now, even if I forget my reading glasses, I can still read our computer screens.
Oh, okay.
All right,
okay. So you can't read that with reading glasses?
I can't read it with reading glasses in the right light. I can read that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. My reading glasses, when I buy reading glasses, I buy them for distance. And I get them for distance to a computer that's 3 feet away rather than a book. And then I have like a pair that I use for reading a book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
Yeah, it's that old guy thing. You know.
I know.
You know.
Mine are all built into one.
Yeah. Oh, you got trifocals. There you go.
Exactly.
That conversation on KCHW was so interesting this morning.
Okay.
All right, on to the Creative District. What is the Creative District, Mike? Because we're getting a lot of hype about this. There's this ice cream social tonight going on at the brewery.
At 6 o'clock.
Some people might, we know what it is.
Okay.
Kinda. But we're learning because we're only the second town that was ever turned into a creative.
Yeah,
in the state of Washington. So we've got this new Creative District. What is it?
Well, a Creative District is a defined area. In this particular case, there'll be a map tonight, but it basically runs from the brewery to the city park. And then there's a glow to the Creative District. So even though you have this defined area that has to be set up, that's how the state approves it, actually the glow goes to the outside businesses and entities that can create the Creative District in itself. So geographically, that's what it is. But it's also an area where art and culture and economic activity take place.
So what you're saying is, so if there is a skilled trade that's off of this cordoned off area that the state makes this pick, they get to still be involved.
They can, and they may not officially be in those district lines, but it doesn't mean they're not a creator or they're not a creative type person.
Okay.
And so the way I look at it is a creative district becomes like a magnet, where you pull people in. and then everybody that's within that magnet, and whether it's a baker or a restaurant or your neighbors next door, the creative workshop, all get benefit of that draw. And so it'll include things like cultural facilities. You got the PACA building here, and you've got, the Civic Center can be used for things, and the Performing Arts Center, those types of things. Artists, creative industries, and that's where I think people get a little bit confused. Creative industries are the traditional artisans that you would think they would be, but it's also people that do metalwork, for instance, or restorations of any kinds, or the brewery where they make beer. I mean, those are all creative
handmade
industries. Handmade cabinets, yeah. I mean, you can go on and on.
Yeah.
In fact, I think last night, Laura Ritchie had come up with about 60, I think it was, creative industries that people don't think are creative industries. They'll be on a kind of a plaque where they're laminated papers that people can get a better handle on what that is. It's an area from an economic development standpoint that'll grow jobs. And it creates opportunities for that entrepreneur to be able to come in, especially in an area like Chewelah, at a relatively low cost to, say, a Spokane or a Seattle, and build out that small business and whatever it happens to be. And then a place for people to enjoy and vibrant downtown, which we've got a lot of right now. I mean, you've got the Thursday Night Art Walk, for instance, or you've got the various fairs that go on. I mean, there's a lot of vibrancy already within the city, and that is one of the reasons, frankly, that the state liked Chewelah, is because they've already got a core area that a lot of this stuff is happening in.
And I think they were impressed, too, from one thing you said, not to steal something you might have were going to say, but they were really impressed about how all these different nonprofit groups were already working together, which is something, we already knew in this town, but
they are.
That,
I mean,
and our local people, transcend groups.
Right.
You usually are, if you're the volunteer type and you're out involved in your community, most of them, if you look, they're lucky enough to be retired, and they're involved in more than one thing.
They are.
Like you.
And very fortunate. Yeah. You've got a segment of the population here that has the ability to do that. Yeah. I mean, and
we do have a big retired community.
You do, because Chewelah from before my time was really marketed as a retirement community, and there's still an influx of that.
If it wasn't for retired people, I would be sitting here by myself.
Right.
I really would be.
Yeah.
Excluding Gene, everybody else who volunteers right now is and Philip is retired. Yeah.
So I guess we went through this process called the Ripple Mapping, and Deborah Hansen does it from SSU, and we identified 5 focus areas that the Creative District's going to work on. And one of them is what we call walkability design and streetscape. So basically, it's got to be walkable, it's got to be innovative, it's got to be something that people will go to. And so we're going to start looking for ideas of what people think that should look like, because it really wants to be a community collaborative effort. Instead of somebody saying, I want to put a mural over here, for instance. Well, if that came from the community saying, hey, this building will look good for a proactive mural. And you've seen those, where people can go up and they can have their picture taken where they maybe have wings on and stuff like that. So that's really what that's all about. Business expansion and development, which is probably the longer term issue. Because you got so many different players need to get into play. You've got the city, you've got the state, you've got financing issues and things like that. But that's basically a creative district will help put that in play in promotion and marketing of the district. Now, the chamber already has a tourism arm. That's the part of the economic development. So this piggybacks or complements very well to what the chamber itself is doing. And I'm talking with my hands.
You're talking with your hands. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Development, sport of artists and cultural groups. And then the one thing that I think a lot of people don't grab onto, a creative district also supports and enhances the local heritage and preservation of things. And the agency cabin's a great example of that. The historical walk that you talk about is a great example of that, where you've already, that's already in place. So that's really what this particular creative district at this point in time is identified where they want to take it.
And the real benefit of this, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, it translates into, really it does tourism.
It does.
It kind of really took Chihuahua and it put us on the map for the state,
right?
At least, and when the state tourism promotions come out in the marketing, and they're talking about Washington states, when you come to Washington, and we have these creative districts in these awesome towns throughout our state, and there's just a handful of them, and Chihuahua happens to be one of them. Right. That's automatically, going to bring some numbers your way in the form of tourism, and you better be ready for it, right?
Right. Well, and you're right. And, in just the short time we've been in existence, the conversations a lot of times go from what is a Chihuahua to where is a Chihuahua.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of that is because of the internal press that you get within the state agencies, and then a lot of it is just, I think, good, solid promotion. And the other thing, it's not only tourism, it's also, I think, drives economic development. And if you take a look at what they call the 20th century model of economic development, you got things like the public sector leadership, you've got shotgun recruiting, low cost positioning, the mall type concepts, where manufacturing and things like that, and not that those things are bad, but they have lifespans. And Chihuahua has lived through 3 or 4 of those on a lifespan. Yeah. Whereas when you look at your 21st model of economic development, it's more sustainable because, generally speaking, it will bring something to the community that not only the community wants on a long-term basis, but people want to come and get at the community. And so
our community's been growing. It grew a lot last year.
It did.
And without any major industry.
Yeah. Well, and somebody told me, I was in a meeting someplace where their Chihuahua grew by 100 people in the last year. And that doesn't sound like a lot until you figure out it only started at 2,600.
Yeah.
And so from a percentage standpoint, it's huge. And when Sandy at the Chamber says, I sent out 107 relocation packets last year, that tells you something. Not that all those people will come here. Or I had some people contact me that were moving to this area from Ohio. And, and what they wanted to do is they wanted to move to an area where they had golfing and skiing and a vibrant community. And they originally looked at Coeur d'Alene, but it was way too expensive given what they wanted. And so next place I think they came was actually Chihuahua.
Yeah, you probably buy twice the house here for the same dollar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same, and so basically it's a transition to a different economy, which in my mind is going to be more sustainable long term.
Definitely, you can see some benefits there. So we might have covered some of this, but what does our creative economy look like?
Well, the creative economy, just to name a few things, or that are out there already, you've got antiques and architects and calligraphy and art instruction, auto restoration, bike repair, bookstores, design, coffee shops. You've got restaurants, bistros. I mean, it's really pretty broad-based. And these are already in play. You got media production, because I didn't realize what you do. Beyond the KCHW thing, you do media production.
Yeah, we produce movies, videos, audio tracks.
And I'll bet the vast majority of people
theater,
have no idea.
We got a theater opening in 3 days.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so you've got, vintage furnishings, web design. I can think of at least 2 web designers that are here, and they're here by choice.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you'll see in the presentation tonight, I believe, is one of the aspects of Chihuahua. The tagline is "Rural by Choice," and so you've already got a creative economy going here. So now the issue is, how do you enhance it? How do you support it? How do you make it a long-term focus? And the best way to do that, in our opinion, obviously, is through the creative district designation.
All right. Well, it was an easy win for us. So that's a good sign too.
Well, I don't know if it was an easy win, but it was a great win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't like you were questioned at all by it, or that they came back and said, try again.
Well,
or
it was
maybe if you guys did this.
No, they came back, and there's a panel. I believe the panel of chooses at state levels like 15. Or don't quote me on that, but it was 100% yes. Chihuahua needs to be a creative district, and the only thing they came back to us is they wanted us to focus more on diversity And in a small community like this, that's a little harder to do because you got to have the diversity to begin with.
Yeah.
But then when the Spokane Tribe of Indians came on as board as collaborative partner, that was a huge movement in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I just give you some real quick stats here. This is a state study that was done a couple of years ago, and I don't have these memorized, but there's 303,000 jobs in the creative industries in the state of Washington. They employ more people than farming, forestry, and the medical combined.
Wow.
So it's what you don't see that because you got 3 people here and 2 people there, and you know they're not big complexes. So you don't have a Forest Service headquarters, you don't have a hospital, you don't have
spread out. Yeah.
They're spread out. The average growth has been 10% over the last 10 years. And the average earnings per job is right at $45,000.
Wow.
So, you know, and an average is an average, but so I can go on and on. I mean, it's a $28.9 billion industry in the state of Washington. These are 2017 stats, by the way. And so it's a valid economic driver for any community.
All right. And we've got one of the last things you had on there, but I think we've really covered that well too. Is the assets of the creative district?
Yeah, we do.
We have a lot in Chewelah.
Yeah, and we broke that down into 4 areas: community assets, and there are things like historic buildings, the event centers, outdoor spaces, city park. They're more physical type things. Cultural assets. You got performing arts, Chewelah Museum, the historic walk. Retail assets, and we talked
Indian
about
Agency
that.
Cabin. That's a good historical one.
That's a great one. Yeah, retail assets, and it's all those industries that I talked about. A lot of them are retail driven, and then the big thing is what I call leadership assets. You know, you got your collaborative partners, and these collaborative partners, there's 16 of them, represent the arts, business, schools, nonprofits, city, entrepreneurs, Spokane Tribe of Indians, creators, fabricators, and artisans. And so. And believe me, when we get together, we average about 9 that come to the meetings. It's you could see that. I mean, and frankly, what makes an artisan tick is different than what makes me tick. But that's a good collaboration.
Right.
You know, it really does.
All
so,
right.
Anyway, so tonight,
well, you
6
could
to 8
probably, since you don't, do you consider yourself artistic in any way?
I do actually. You know, I'm not even come close to saying I'm an artisan by any means, but I think I'm fairly artistic, and I appreciate art. I have for years. I mean, years ago, I used to own an art gallery and a picture frame shop, and I've owned a couple of different restoration businesses and helped people with restoration businesses. And you know, part of my job was a management consultant and building and helping entrepreneurs, you know, get off the ground and running. And I figure, you know, that in itself is an art. And then don't even start talking about how to manage money. That is a real art. There is no science to that. So I think, you know, Grumpy John was here earlier, and he started out with the creative district, and then he decided to retire. But he came up with fundamentally what I'm just about ready to say here. I thought was just brilliant. And there's 3 aspects the creative district's going to focus in on. One is focusing on creating an enriching cultural environment for the local citizens. It's that old adage, don't forget where you came from. I mean, you know, supporting the continued growth and sustainability of area businesses, and providing an engaging experience for all visitors.
There you go.
And if we can get those 3 things
and you're giving Grumpy credit for that. Nice.
Well,
right.
yeah. I mean, fundamentally, it was rewritten a little bit, but he's the one that because we throw these ideas on the wall and see what sticks type thing, and he fundamentally came up with most of that. And you know, if you think about it. What more do you want? Yeah. I mean, taking care of your own, you're bringing in new people, and you're helping the economy of the local community to grow.
Yeah, it's winning all the way around.
It's a win all the way around. Yeah. You know, the only downside of this whole thing is some of the personalities, mine included, is how come this didn't happen yesterday? And I am learning patience. It just takes time. Yeah. You know, and a lot of that is just dealing with the fact that, you know, it's all volunteer, as you can relate to. So there is no paid staff, and so you're you know, and those volunteers are already sharing in probably 3 or 4 different directions at the same time. A lot of them have, you know, what I call real jobs, and like some of us are retired, and so you got to work around all that. But I think we're going to get there pretty quick. I feel pretty comfortable with that.
All right. Yay! And tonight, learn about it at the brewery.
At the brewery, it's called an ice cream social, but you can, I guess you can put beer in ice cream, so you can have a beer float, and we'll have root beer there from the brewery. This is all provided by the brewery. Not provided, you'll have to pay for it, but basically you can get a root beer float, traditional root beer, and nitro brew float. And I have no idea what a nitro brew is, but just the word nitro in front of it
sounds like beer and ice cream.
It is, yeah. Or if you just want a little cup of ice cream, we're going to be scooping up the Creative District. The way it's going to be set up tonight, there'll be a rolling presentation that isn't. It's just it's a PowerPoint that's going to go over and over again, so it's not a formal presentation. We're going to have subject matter experts at various stations to ask, so you can ask questions, you can ask concerns, you can say, well, I'd like to see this in it, so we're going to collect that data. Deborah Hansen's going to be there to talk about the process we went through to get to where we are today. Obviously, not obviously, but the majority of the people involved in Collaborative Partners are going to be there, and they're all going to have name tags. So, if they got a little blue tag on, and like mine will say my name on it, and I represent the Chamber of Commerce, then don't be afraid to approach them and say, hey, what about this? Or I've heard this, or because like anything, there's hearsay and all kinds of things.
All right, so when you see Mike and he's got his name tag on him, and he's a tall guy, he's a big guy, go up to him and tell him, be nicer to Scott.
Well, that's part of the creative industry is not being nice. But it's from 6.
I get it.
It's from 6 to 8. Ice cream will go until it runs out.
Okay.
When I leave here, actually, I'm going to go pick it up. And because you're kind of guessing how many people show up. So
you're going to get the ice cream when you leave here,
right?
So you will have the ice cream before the event.
That's right.
At your house, probably.
I will.
In your deep freeze or something, right?
That's right. I hope so. Yeah.
All right. I know exactly where I'm going for lunch today.
Anyway, be there.
Be there. All right. Tonight, 6 o'clock at the brewery in Chewelah.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Moving on to more cool Chewelah stuff. Something you are involved with, our local chamber.
Right.
Do an annual event called City Sidewalks. They're doing it up really big this year. It happens Saturday. Starts off with the mayor's proclamation in the morning at 10 o'clock. And then the celebration goes on to 4. There's several different rides you will be able to take with different types of vehicles throughout the day, both man-made and animal-driven. Whether you lack tractors or horses, they're going to have something for you.
Yeah, well, and along the streets they're going to have like cookies and stuff like that, including s'mores, I'm told.
Oh, and I heard hot chocolate.
Yeah, I mean this would be. I think, it's the 4th time they've done this, and unfortunately I'm going to be out of town this weekend, but Loretta and I were talking about last night, if at all possible, we're going to have our grandkids here next year.
All right.
because think about that.
Just a little fun family festival. That's what's happening.
It is a fun, and there's a lot of businesses that are going to have what they call screaming deals. And if you want to see
and
what
he's not, I'm going to interrupt right there because let's see, I've got 6, 12, 18, and 6 more. There's 24 and 4 more. There's 28 coupons on this sheet that Diane gave me from not just even businesses that are just downtown, from throughout the area, discount coupons from even places that you're involved with, like the Rusty Putter.
Right.
But yeah, Black Sheep Vintage is on here.
Yep.
I see, just, and that's one I'd mention them just because they're kind of outside the downtown corridor. Lots of so everything's going to be open on Saturday, and they're all giving out deals.
Right, and you can get that actually by going to the Chamber website, and right at the very top there'll be a banner, and you click on that banner. I think it says City Sidewalks, and then those all pop up. So you can either print it out or you can get a feel of what it is. I don't believe you need to have a coupon to participate. You just need to show up. Okay. And then what's different this
year... But
it
gives you an idea what each different business has.
Right, so. Exactly. Exactly.
All right, and then normally this is over at 4 o'clock. And let's throw out a shout-out to the Chewelah Farmers Market because they set up the Aaron Howick Memorial Cultural Center, and sometimes there's stuff outside there, too, and I think
there will be this year. I talked to Joan, and they ran out of room last year. And so they're going to, around the back, I believe, where the parking lot is, they're going to have some tents out there. And I believe Front Porch Farms, and, we had Merritt in here a while back, they're going to bring some Christmas trees up so you can buy your Christmas tree. I mean, things like that.
Nice.
So,
all right. Now, this year you've added on City Sidewalks After Dark.
Right.
And it's just the local pubs and our eateries doing festive specials. Downtown is beautiful at night.
oh, it is fantastic. If you haven't been downtown after dark, come downtown. I mean, it's really, Main Street is phenomenal.
And then sometimes I wonder what I think is we were kind of wondering if we could get our theater done in time. We're still hoping so. But we've decided just to step out and say, it's going to be done because we're going to do a show. And we figured, I asked Diane if it would be okay because she's kind of like the City Sidewalks boss.
Right.
And she said it'd be awesome. And she said, in fact, if there was leftover hot cocoa and stuff, they'd bring it to the station. So the After Dark goes from 4 to 8. At 7 o'clock, doors will open at 6:30. We're going to do a soft opening for the new theater. And you'll be able to come in, grab a seat. Maybe there'll be some leftover hot cocoa left. And it's just a 26-minute play, but we're doing it live on the radio. This is an old-time radio show that we've grabbed called The Plot to Overthrow Christmas. It's very good. It's not Shakespeare, but it's written in Shakespearean fashion, and I say that meaning it's rhythmic. It's clever and it's fun, very fast-paced, and I knew it would be something different for the DJs because the DJs are going to be part of the show too. They're the voices.
Okay.
That's obvious. But the two main roles are basically Nero, who the devil sends to take out Santa, who is Bill Barnes. Okay. So I knew I needed to, in those two key roles, because I needed some people with lots of stage experience, and I got Bill Barnes as Santa and Bud Evans as Nero.
Is it going to be recorded? I'd love to see it.
It is going to be recorded. It'll also be live on YouTube, and we'll do it just like we do our everything else we do. We're just that when we're live, we're just going to put it out. And we're going to send it out on the web. It'll go out through our website. It'll even be on the YouTube channel, as long as everything technical works.
Right.
And it'll be live on the radio while we're doing it on stage. But we need that studio audience for the laughter and the applause and all that kind of stuff. It just adds to the whole recording. And then afterwards, when we play it again, because it's the holidays, I'll get to play it a couple times. You can hear it and go, oh, I was in the audience, or and we got somebody's going to do cue cards.
Yeah.
And we might even have some places where we need help, where we actually need people in the audience doing a particular sound effect. So we will be involving them in that. So while you're out on your city sidewalks, take a 20. It'll start at 7. We'll open the doors at 6:30 if you want to come in and visit with us. If you've never seen the studios, you want to check out the new theater. It is also going to be a live broadcast center where you could have a seminar and send it out to the world. I don't know how much need that is into Chewela, but I throw that out there. That's the capabilities of the room.
Well, that's part of that media production thing we talked about.
Yeah.
And what Scott hasn't said is he's got some really nice new to you theater seats.
Yes. These are courtesy of PACA. Yeah. And people will go, well, why is PACA giving theater seats to the radio station? Well, these were theater seats they were given before they even had that building. Like, I don't know, we've been hiding them for them in storage, and I think for 5 years just on the chairs. So they were donated just with the hopes, hey, we can get these, we might be able to use them, and they took them. And in their configuration and the way that the theater's going to work out in their phases and I can't remember the term you would use for your seating. Configurable seating. It's going to always need to change in there depending on the show. These have to be bolted down. So they weren't something that could work for them. And storage was an issue for them. And what a great place to store them. On my floor.
Well, and there's like 50 of them too, right?
45. Luxurious. Padded, super padded, luxurious. I mean, nicer than probably your chair in your house. Theater seats with a flip-up desktop. So if someone wants to come in and do a seminar, maybe even broadcast that seminar, I could see a place like TED, and even to have a big classroom, but then wanting to share that class with other TED agencies in the country, and being able to do that right here from Chewela in our location. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So that capability is there, and with the new fiber optics that are in Chewela, we took full advantage of that. So we got the bandwidth too to be able to do that, which is really awesome. So
I'm going to be in Montana, so I can basically fire up the web, go to KCHW, and watch the play.
Yeah, and if you're thinking, if you got all that bandwidth, Scott, why were all the hiccups yesterday? Well, that's because there's not fiber optics on top of the mountain.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm actually we run on broadband. Is basically what we're running on broadband signals to get it up there because there's no lines buried in the ground anywhere close.
Anywhere else.
Yeah, I imagine if you wanted to have them put up that hill, you could do it, but it'd probably cost you $200,000.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, I know CenturyLink wanted $250,000 to take it from downtown up to the golf course. So,
Wow. Yeah.
So it's not
expensive stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we covered that really good. City sidewalks. Saturday, beginning at 10 with the mayor's proclamation.
Right.
And then after dark, beginning at 4, radio play live at 7.
And after dark, they're going to have the horse drawn Surrey.
Yes.
So if you find a date.
Oh, how romantic is that?
Romantic, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Hey.
Can we have a cookie?
All right. I had something else. Oh, yeah, Christmas cards. Did we get everything covered? We've got, let's see, about 6 slots left for musical Christmas cards.
Right.
New health programs. Chihuahua got one yesterday, and then Colville said, no, we want one too. So they are going.
You only got 6 left.
I only got 6 left. A little slower than years past, but there's still a lot of time before the holidays where you can share your Christmas wish with the general public.
And and you can do it as an individual too.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a business. So,
I like how you get to do a little one-sentence wish, and
Right.
and I like yours, and I was glad you didn't change it. And how do you say it? Yes.
My mind's going blank.
It's just have best wishes for the holidays and see you next trip around the sun.
Next time around the sun, yeah, exactly. Have a great holiday. See you next trip around the sun.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have some of those left. They are $125. We earmark those funds to help us pay our music licensing fees for 2020, and we're doing it with musical Christmas cards. So you get the tie-in there. And those fees are about $4,000 a year. That's like,
it's a big part of your budget.
Yeah, it's like a sixth of our budget. We don't.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that it costs money to be on the air.
Yeah.
I mean, and because those royalties have to be paid.
Yeah.
And so every nickel counts.
Definitely.
So,
And actually, that's a quarter of our budget. No, it's a quarter of our budget.
Quarter of your budget.
Yeah,
Okay. Right.
I think our annual revenue, and it's funny how it went perfectly in and out, about $16,000. So really, a quarter of it does go to music license. Your public radio station really survives on very little, and it's because everybody is doing it for free, and we couldn't even begin to pay somebody. We hope for that someday, but sponsoring the programs, it's affordable for businesses and people that want to sponsor. And that's one thing to point out. You hear at some public radio stations, which I've only had happen here a couple times, and that's where a private individual sponsors programming in the name of a family. I've had it happen a couple times in memoriam of someone who's recently passed, where the family would, buy a package or sponsor their favorite show or something like that, which is a real cool way to do that. But it is possible, and it is not that expensive. So that's a possibility out there too. I'm really thrilled. We have several nonprofit groups that sponsor our programming, and look what Kiwanis did, giving us the grant for the new children's programming that Brian's been producing. And and we talk about the Creative District and all these other collaborations, and here you have the Libraries of Stevens County, the radio station, and the Kiwanis, 3 nonprofit groups working together and doing this cool kids show, and it's awesome. So.
Yep.
And that they support the radio station through that too. So we appreciate our nonprofit groups, our businesses, and our private individuals. Memberships are still going on too. They've all went out.
I was going to say the renewal letter just went out.
The renewal letter went out, and they are coming back in. So thank you very much.
Good.
And we're running out of time today already. In fact, we're not even going to get to odd news. But I do have setting over on our table the ones that come in, and I like to thank those people on the air. That's fun. And I'll try to get that to tomorrow. Yesterday's show and today's show has been so full of information that we haven't had a chance to do that. But musical Christmas cards, any questions you ever have around about the radio station, of course, you can visit us online in 2 places. And that's KCHW.org and then NorthernLightsPublicRadio.com, if that's easier. And then always on Facebook. You can find us too by just Googling us. And those Christmas cards, 6 slots left, $125 goes to music licensing fees. And whatever you can do to support this time of year. We were talking about the hiccups yesterday, and as every problem that you might have that's technical, there's always, if you can throw enough money on it, you can fix it. And one of the solutions to that is more internet.
Right.
And that's about a 12. I mean, it's on our list of things we'd like to do, but I have to come up with another $1,200 a year and earmark it for just when you think of the big picture. I just told you what the budget's like, and there's not a lot of wiggle room in there. So you got to, what are we going to do to bring in another $1,200 a year so we can double our internet at the tower? So hopefully that never happens again.
Yeah.
And it was weird. That was a CenturyLink issue, but it was affecting AT&T, and that's what was affecting us.
Right.
So yeah, it was widespread, and I think those pipelines of internet, they're only coming in a couple spots, and when somebody backs into the pole with a truck, it just ruins everything.
Or digs a hole.
Or digs a hole where they
Exactly.
shouldn't, or something like that. All right. All right, I think we covered it real good. But
I think we did, yeah.
One more reminder from you, and that's the Ice Cream Social, right?
Ice Cream Social. And then I don't know if we're going to get the events calendars, but don't forget the First Thursday Art Walk.
Yes.
That's tomorrow night, actually.
It is a busy week. There are so many things. In fact, I think, and we did a good job yesterday of covering the events for the week.
Right.
And I think what I'm going to do is go back in, and since we're not going to make it to weather in the community calendars, go back in to yesterday's and just pull mine and Jean's event calendar off of that and slap it in with some weather for today, because it was so inclusive, and I think it was an 8-minute community calendar, which we try to keep them around 5. Because that gets a little long-winded. And if you're going to go over 2, you really need 2 people. Or else it's just monotonous to have one person going, event after event, after
another
event, after event. And then my phone rings and it says, Scott, shut up.
Could you change your voice? Can you do something?
And that's the funny thing about all the hiccups yesterday. My phone, I want to thank everybody. My phone was going off like crazy.
Right.
And I'm sure people think, well, he could be trying to fix it. I won't bother him. But what if I didn't know? So just, I might not respond to you even because I got my hands inside of a piece of equipment or something. But yeah, Phil, if you know me, and that's the cute thing about a small town, when it starts going bad, my phone usually lights up.
Lights up?
Yeah. So I know there's something going on. Plus, I have it set up so that if something happens and we pop off the air, that it actually sends me a text message, but it's got to last for longer than 20 seconds. So I can miss something. So I do appreciate the notes that people send me when there are issues. And then I like to say thank you for supporting public radio. And thanks for watching us online and on YouTube. And boy, our YouTube subscriptions have gone up because they were at nothing. So I was they were at nothing. And then we kind of started posting our videos, and it was still really at nothing. And then I think Daisy, I'll give her credit for that. She started pulling in some people out of Spokane, and we started getting a little more serious about some of the interviews we're having.
Right.
And then you started doing Wednesdays, and you started bringing people with you, and all of a sudden our videos, it's not relating to our subscribers very well, the number of subscribers, but our videos went from maybe having 10 views, 21 views, 70 views to 300. 350.
That's really good.
Oh, look at that one, 1,100.
Right.
So we only have, like, the last time I checked, it was like 101 subscribers.
Right.
You need to get to 1,000 before we can make money off those videos, so please subscribe.
Right.
We need those 1,000 subscribers so we can monetize.
Exactly.
And that's a lot. But if you're a listener and you're just, even if you don't want to watch our videos, if you would just go subscribe so we can make money off them, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is a trick that public radio stations can do for their YouTube channels and try to come up with an extra revenue income. You're checking your phone. Are we in trouble?
No, actually, it's. I just got a message about the radio show. Great job.
Oh, thank you very much. I hope we covered it all. Visit us online. Send us a note if you want those musical Christmas cards. 935-6626. 935-6626. If it goes to our volunteer voicemail, someone will call you back. Leave us a message.
Okay.
All right. And I apologize for the odd news, but that means double stupidity tomorrow. All right.
It is a Thursday.
It is a Thursday. There you go. And it is KCHW 102.7. I'm Scott Allen.
I'm Mike Benz.
And we thank you for listening today. Have a great one.